So we trained a ton of horses, 12 in the race bike before the races this morning at the Meadows, 12. And it was okay. It was a good day, a tiring day, but a good day nonetheless. I was very, very happy with what I saw from our horses. I went with some of Tim's also. 6 of ours trained in the race bike. And I wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update on 4 or 5 of the horses that we have. So I'll start with the updates, because I think that's important. Greatest Ending, a lot of people ask me, when's he racing, when's he racing? So I've been telling everybody next week, next week, next week. The whole point, I did a video yesterday about it, the whole point of Greatest Ending's feet were, it's not just to fix him up right now. It is put him on the proper path moving forward. And that's where you're at with this guy. I told you when we bought him, bad feet, he ties up, and I think he ties up because he has bad feet. I could be wrong, but generally in my experience, that is a huge contributing factor into AST spikes is stress. Stress obviously comes from soreness a lot of the times, and what's sorer than feet. So Greatest Ending, Mark and Melissa have been working on his feet and trying to fix up the way his feet are put together, because for some reason they shift when they go unnoticed, when they go unchecked, they shift into an area where they're almost I don't know the best way to put it, almost a little lopsided. You can see the bulbs in his feet. Mark had sent me a couple of pictures and then an x-ray of him showing how much better his feet are right now. So we're just trying to get him in a proper spot. The blacksmith had trimmed a lot away and thinks he has him flattened out and proper now, but it is going to take a week or so. I was a little surprised, but not really when I thought about it. Mark said it'll be the last week of August, first week of September. I was a little surprised, but not really, because I've seen this before. Just happy that they have figured out exactly what's wrong, and they have a plan. You know, just patch and go is not a plan. And understanding what is fundamentally wrong with this horse's feet in a way, and knowing that we can fix it, address it, and maintain it is the very most important thing moving forward. There's nothing wrong with him, you know, other than he's got, you know, some bad feet, and we have to know that and know how to mitigate that moving forward. Stay one step ahead. And I think the plan, the plan that Mark and Melissa and their blacksmith have set forward is fair, and I think will, you know, I hope pay dividends down the road. It's a good horse. Taking care of him is the most important thing for him, for us. Most of you know by now, it looks like Money injured his leg up. I guess probably one of those things been brewing for a while, just racehorse stuff. You know, sometimes when you hear me say, oh, you know, he's got a little lesion, and I don't like using words like tear because it's such an umbrella thing. He's got a lesion on the medial part of his suspensory. Not a hole, not a rip, just a lesion on there, but it's an injury. And when you hear it, it's like, oh, it just happened. This may have been coming for a while and it just came to a head right now. Racing at that kind of speed with those kind of horses, if there's any sort of chinks in the armor, so to speak, they're going to come out, right? You're gonna see them, and I think that might be what we're looking at. You know, when you see horses that run out hard, run in hard, got to watch them in the turns. There's telltale signs there's something going on, but you can't always put your finger on it. So I'm so glad that Harry caught it when he did, because he was supposed to school on Friday, and if Dr. McKee hadn't been able to get him in on short notice and get him looked at, we may very well have schooled this horse, and that could have been catastrophic. Well, not catastrophic, but very, very bad. So, looks like Money is out for an indefinite period of time right now. We will have a more buttoned down idea of what needs to happen with him moving forward, but until we get all the heat and all the swelling out of that leg and get an ultrasound on it again and make a fair determination of what is going on in there, then we really can't put forth a plan. So for right now, he's on the injured reserve, so to speak, but he will be back at some point. Spitfire Overseas, a bit of a tricky situation here. I didn't want to tell everybody. He is back going, and he did train, and he is on track to be ready to go. Here's the problem. The medication that we used to put his heart back in, called quinidine, and I had no idea this was even a thing. It's the first time we ever used a medication, never had to on a horse. Patrick DePrana is the only other horse I've ever seen flip his heart in our care, and he reverted back. Well, Spitfire Overseas needed medical treatment to flip back, and the treatment for that is a medication called quinidine. Now, it worked well. He's rested well, he's sharp, he's feeling good. You could tell it was his first training trip back in a month the other day. He was good, but we checked his heart immediately after. Everything went great. Now we're starting to think, okay, so he's got a lot of stakes coming up. When can we have him ready? And the vet says, that's not your biggest problem. there's a huge withdrawal time on quinidine in Pennsylvania. It's one of those drugs that they don't really have a withdrawal time, and there's zero tolerance on it. And he said, I don't understand why. They are going to have to change it. They just haven't yet. And the only thing they can do is test your horse. So they're going to test Spitfire Overseas Tuesday to see if the medication that was given 4 weeks ago, going on 5 weeks, is still in his system, because it can't be if we're going to race him in Pennsylvania. For those of you crunching the numbers, you know what that means, right? We do have the final coming up, and although he may not even be really ready to go in the final, it might be a lot to ask, and it truly is. That's not even the biggest problem. It's the quinidine, and there's nothing saying, well, we could have used something. There's nothing else, right? You have shock therapy, which I did not want to go to do. It's usually secondary to quinidine. And truthfully speaking, I had no idea that quinidine tested in Pennsylvania. And even if we did, it wouldn't have mattered, because we had to use the quinidine. So he will be tested on Tuesday. If he comes back negative for quinidine, no harm, no foul. Continue on. And I was almost going to say nothing, but I thought it was an interesting tidbit to tell to you, because I didn't know. One, I'm not very familiar with how to treat horses in AFib, right? A little more now, but I certainly didn't know that quinidine tested, and certainly didn't know that there was this long withdrawal time on it. So we'll know more on Tuesday with Spitfire, and I guess I'll defer everything I could have and was going to say until that time that we get the test back. So Spitfire Overseas, the great news is he's on the comeback trail. Now, I don't know if there is a test for it in Ontario or Ohio, or when it is, because I've never heard of this before happening. And it sounded to me like there really was, Pennsylvania was the only one that was sticky about it that they knew of. So even if he comes back positive, we have options, but they may not be in Pennsylvania. So we'll know after Tuesday about Spitfire Overseas. Cash Deals, looks like she banged her leg this week. She's going to be scratched tomorrow. It sounded like Mary was saying she was a little bit sick anyway, so she's going to have probably a couple of weeks off. We'll make sure we have her ready for the 5th prospect leg, and then potentially into the final. Now, I will tell you right now, that is the time when we are planning to move a lot of our sophomores, and if Cash Deals moves between the 5th leg and the final, then so be it. For those of you out there that are big Cash Deals fans, I like the filly. She's done a lot of good for us this year. She won a lot of races, but she will not be staying, and that's nothing to do with her and just to do with her classes, right? She's going to have the prospect, and then she's going to be a nice Ontario filly for somebody in Ontario to race at London or something like that, but it won't be us. And there'll be a lot more sophomores we talk about over the next few weeks that'll be on that very same list. Carter Michael Dio is training down great, but we're going to take 2 weeks away from training from him, just jogging and swimming. Want to keep an eye on that sesamoid. We x-rayed it the other day. It looks great, but she said it could look better. So he's sound on it. He's training great on it, but we don't want to get to a point where he's sore on it. Now we've regressed, and we don't want to get to that point. So we're going to take our time with Carter. He has trained a number of times in 220. He's making headway. He's doing good things on the track. We just don't want to get to a point where we push him over an inch. We don't want to come out one day and him say, he's sore behind. Oh, there's that line again. We don't want that. So take our time, step back, light jogging and lots of pool for him. Keep his endurance up, light jogging for him the next 2 weeks, re-x-ray, and then push forward for him. So not really, we were actually ahead of schedule anyway, so we're not really behind. We're exactly where we need to be, just watching this situation very, very carefully with Carter Michael Dio. Now today, HL Ballou, I actually trained him in 2-4. I thought he was good. He'll qualify Tuesday here at the Meadows. I will be here to qualify. Think of Galaxy's trained like a beast today at the Meadows. Trained her in 55. She's going to be very tight coming into Wednesday's race, but I'm telling you, a mile and 55 for her is like 2 minutes. I've never seen a more, yeah, I'm sure I have, but not very often. I've seen a horse have more raw talent than her. She just feels like a beast when you sit behind her, which is so weird because she wasn't present on her lines in the last little while. It certainly was present for us. You know, she shut her air off her last start. That was unequivocal, 100%. Scoped her today after we trained her. No blood, no mucus, no signs of shutting her air off in any way, shape, or form. I come off the track with her. She was barely blowing. She is a really, really, really nice mare, and coming into this week's contest, very, very sharp. JK Mickey Mantle, Tim just told me the new condition sheet's out. The nominators at 3, but not more than 5 is not on there. So he might actually have to wait a week. And as we're trying to undo knots that, yes, Northfield didn't help. And we're probably put into him. I did train him in 53 today at the Meadows, and he was pretty good. After the training mile, we were just putting the horse away. I was helping Tim and Sophie. We were looking at all the horses, and I was walking up and down looking at everybody. His feet were very warm, and there was quite a pulse in them still. Now, we have shoes on to help him out, but we did end up reducing sweating his feet, pulsing him up. I think the week might actually help this guy. He was good today. That was a good mile, 53 and a piece. Off a half and 58 by himself. You can't ask him to do much more. He's ready to go, but truthfully speaking, rather than try and cram him into a class he doesn't belong in next week, I'm more apt just to say, you know what, Tim, just give him a week. We'll race him the following week. I don't care. It's not the end of the world. Royal Emeralds, I trained in 2-1. I thought she trained good. I thought she was a little salty with me today, to be honest. Tapped her on the tail, and she kind of sat on me a bit in the mile. I didn't like that. But, you know, it's been I was going to say a long year. It has been a long year, but it's been a strenuous year for her. I would like to win the race on Wednesday with her. She is coming in relatively tight. I would like to win the race with her on Wednesday and then move on, turn her out, and then call 2023 a little frustrating for her, but with a strong focus on 2024. And last 2 I trained were Austral and Wallop. Austral Hanover was good. He's kind of a shitty trainer, to be honest. He's a smart little bugger. He knew it was training day. It wasn't racing day. He went out and trained, and you know what? I let him do it. I just let him go a mile in 2.7 off a half and 5. He did his work great. I was really happy with him. We're going to take those back to the bike hobbles off him and put a set of belly band hobbles on. I've been trying to do it for a while, and I think he's ready now. He's trotting real clean. I'm really happy with what I see from him. And today, I don't care. I've trained him a million times. He's always like that. You're like, hey, he's okay. You think he just holds a lot in reserve? He's like, yeah, listen, bud, I know it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we're not doing any racing today. I'm just going to go out and work, and you're going to get what you get. And that's that. But he was fine. He was sharp pulling up. And Wallop, I trained in 59 last half and 58. I thought he was a tad flat, but Scope was good, so we're going to do blood work on him. We'll have that back this week before he races, but obviously a horse that I think pretty highly of also. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the coming weeks. So there you have it. You have your update for today, leading into tonight. You have an injury update. You have a breakdown of the horses that trained today. And you know what? I'll get to the opening. I'll get to all our stuff on my way. 2 hours back to Northfield Park when I leave at 6:30. As long as there's sun, as long as there's light, I'll get the videos to you soon enough. Take care.